Spartan customs are severe. The Spartans examine each newborn to ensure that it is healthy. If it is malformed, the baby is abandoned to die. They raise their boys in the agoge, the school of hard knocks, where a tiny boy's loss of his weapon gets him a bleeding lip from the hand of his own father. At the age of 7, each little boy is separated from his mother and sent into the desert to become a man. Even the king must go through this rite of passage. Young king-to-be Leonidas, Tyler Neitzel, pulls a wolf into a tight passage at the age of 15 in order to kill it. He returns to his homeland to be crowned king. Years later, emissaries arrive in Sparta to petition King Leonidas, Gerard Butler, to submit to King Xerxes, Rodrigo Santoro. King Leonidas insults the messengers by kicking them into a well. Recognizing the threat posed by Xerxes' invasion force, he pays a visit to the ephors, priests, to gain their approval before leading the Spartan army into battle. He advises repelling the numerically superior opponent by funneling the Persians into a tiny channel between the rocks and the sea, where their vast numbers will count for nothing. Wary of the plot, the ephors consult the oracle, Kelly Craig. In her drug trance, she declares that Sparta must not go to war lest the hallowed Carnean celebration be disrupted. Leonidas flees in rage, and the priests accept a bribe of Xerxes' wealth from the Spartan traitor Theron, Dominic West, in exchange for their negative answer. Leonidas is hesitant to openly challenge the corrupt church, but his wife, Lena Headey, urges him to think outside the box. Leonidas chooses to walk 300 of his strongest warriors as his bodyguard to the vital hot gates position. His wife bids him farewell, telling him to return with his shield or on it and giving him a necklace. They encounter several allies on the way who are surprised that the Spartans are sending such a tiny force. Leonidas inquires about the occupations of the allied army's craftsmen and artisans. He claims that he has more soldiers than they do. They arrive to Thermopylae, accompanied by Arcadians and other Greeks. In anticipation of the approaching Persian army, they build a wall to halt the Persian invasion. Storms damage some of Xerxes' fleet, but this is only a fraction of the vast army they will fight. Ephialtes, Andrew Tiernan, a terribly scarred man, comes to meet Leonidas to tell him about an abandoned goat route behind his position. Ephialtes states that his parents fled Sparta when he was born in order to spare his life. He intends to atone for their sins by fighting for Leonidas. Leonidas says that each Spartan fighter is an important part of the phalanx and challenges Ephialtes to demonstrate his ability to raise his shield high enough to adequately defend his fellow warriors. When it becomes clear that he cannot, Leonidas gently instructs him to instead care for the fallen. Ephialtes' most cherished dreams are dashed. When a Persian emissary comes, the remains of the previous scouting group have become part of the enormous rock wall. The Persian claims their arrows will block out the sun, and the Spartans agree to battle in the shadow. The emissary's party is assassinated. The Persians demand that the Spartans lay down their arms and surrender before the combat. Leonidas refuses and invites the Persians to approach and take their weapons. The Spartans funnel the Persians into the narrow terrain with their closely knit phalanx formation, continually rebuffing them and suffering huge casualties. Xerxes personally visits Leonidas to convince him to surrender, inspired by Spartan fighting prowess. In exchange for Leonidas' loyalty, he promises him wealth and power. Leonidas declines, promising to make the god king suffer instead, and returns to his troops. Disgusted by the rejection, Xerxes dispatches his masked personal guard, the Immortals, whose moniker, like the Spartans, proves fake. The Spartans continue to triumph over warriors and creatures brought from all around the Persian Empire, from Mongolian barbarians and Eastern chemists to African rhinoceroses and Indian war elephants. However, some of the valiant Spartan warriors are slaughtered, and it is evident that more will follow. Ephialtes goes to Xerxes and agrees to show the Persians the goat trail in exchange for a uniform and promises of ladies and fortune. If Ephialtes kneels before the god king, Xerxes will grant his wish. Back in Sparta, Queen Gorgo has been attempting to persuade the council to send assistance to Leonidas. A helpful counselor arranges for her to speak, but warns her that she will need Theron's help. Theron agrees to assist her in exchange for sleeping with him, which she does. The Spartans learn they have been betrayed at the Hot Gates and realize their struggle is doomed. In the face of inevitable doom, the Arcadians flee. The Spartans will not follow. Leonidas orders a hesitant Dilios to return to Sparta and inform the people of their impending deaths. Queen Gorgo makes an appeal to the Spartan council. Instead of standing by her, Theron abandons her, accusing her of infidelity. Gorgo, enraged, grabs a sword and stabs Theron, rupturing a gold bag hidden in his robe. As Persian-stamped coins fall to the ground, the council realizes Theron's treason and agrees to unite against Persia. The Persians encircle the Spartans, who have built a dome out of their shields, at the Hot Gates. Leonidas walks in front of the dome. The general of Xerxes demands their surrender, claiming that Leonidas may retain his title as king of Sparta and become warlord of all Greece, answerable only to Xerxes. Ephialtes agrees, to which Leonidas responds, "May you live forever," an insult from a culture that values death and valor in war. Leonidas lowers his shield and removes his helmet, appearing to submit. Stelios then smashes through the dome, leaping over his monarch and killing the general. Xerxes, enraged, orders his forces to strike. As the last Spartans are being shot by Persian archers, Leonidas rises and hurls his spear at Xerxes, cutting open his cheek and making the god-king bleed. Xerxes, evidently saddened by this reminder of his own mortality, watches as the remaining Spartans are slaughtered by his army's united power. Leonidas himself marks his final moments by declaring his love for his wife. The screen goes black as an arrow rains down on him. Dilios returns to Sparta and offers the necklace to Queen Gorgo, informing her of her husband's tragedy. Dilios concludes his story in front of an audience of Spartans, declaring that the 120,000-strong Persian army that nearly beat 300 Spartans now faces 10,000 Spartans commanding 30,000 Greeks. Dilios leads the gathering Greek army into a violent attack against the Persian army, initiating the Battle of Plataea while praising Leonidas' sacrifice.